God says, danger is lurking. A terrible event is coming. Before these words reach you, understand what they are. This is not a warning spoken from fear. This is not a headline crafted to disturb you. What you are about to hear is what I have placed on this vessel's heart for you specifically, in this moment, at this exact intersection of your life and history. And what I am about to say is not comfortable, but it is necessary. Because the ones I love most are not the ones I protect from truth. They are the ones I trust with it before it arrives. So sit down. Wherever you are right now, let your body settle. Let your shoulders drop. Let your hands rest open. Because what is coming in this message cannot be received in a distracted mind or a defended heart. And what I need you to know about what is lurking cannot be understood by the surface of you. It requires the deep part. The part that has been quietly sensing something is wrong even when everything around you appeared to be fine. That sensing was not anxiety. That was me, warning you. Because I warn the ones I have assigned to survive what is coming. I do not warn everyone. I warn the chosen. And the fact that you are here, that something pulled you to this message, that you did not scroll past it, that your finger stopped and your attention locked, and something in your chest said, times this one. That was not algorithm. That was appointment. You were meant to hear this before it arrives. There is a danger that most people will not see coming, not because it will be invisible, because they will be looking in the wrong direction when it appears. They will be watching the obvious places, the loud places, the places where danger usually announces itself with sufficient warning for preparation. And this danger will not come from any of those places. It will come from the place that was quiet, the place that felt resolved, the place you stopped watching because nothing alarming had happened there in long enough that your vigilance relaxed and your attention moved on to more pressing concerns. I want to tell you something about how the enemy operates. Not because dwelling on the enemy is where your focus belongs, but because understanding the strategy is how you recognize the move before it lands. The enemy does not prefer the frontal attack. The frontal attack requires you to be unprepared and unaware, and the ones this message is for are neither. You have been through enough to know how a frontal attack feels. You have survived enough of them that they no longer catch you completely off guard. Your spiritual immune system has been trained by exposure, so the strategy shifted. The attack that is lurking does not look like an attack at first. It looks like a delay. It looks like a quiet season. It looks like a period of unusual calm that, in your weariness, you interpret as rest rather than as the stillness before a storm. Do you know what the water looks like directly before a tsunami makes landfall? It recedes. It pulls back farther than it has ever pulled back before. The shoreline exposes ground that has never been above water, and people who do not know what that means walk toward it. They think the sea has retreated as a gift. They think the unusual exposure is an opportunity to explore what was always hidden beneath the surface. They are walking in the wrong direction. What is lurking in your life right now is not coming with a loud announcement. It is coming with a quiet withdrawal, a slow pulling back of something that used to be present, a subtle shift in a relationship that you have not yet named, a gradual erosion in an area you assumed was stable, a slow dimming in a space that was once bright. Pay attention to what has gone quiet. Pay attention to what used to be present and is no longer. Pay attention to the absence, because the absence is the warning. I want to name 3 specific areas where the lurking danger is operating right now, not to terrify you, to arm you, because the armed one survives what the unaware one does not. The first area is your inner circle. There is someone in proximity to your life whose alignment with your next season is not what it appears to be on the surface. This is not about suspicion. This is not a call to paranoia or to treating the people around you as suspects. This is a call to discernment. Discernment is not suspicion. Suspicion is a feeling without a foundation. Discernment is a knowing with a spiritual root. And what I am speaking about here is the kind of discernment that tells you when someone's presence in your life is beginning to cost you more than their proximity is worth. You have felt it. You have felt the drain that happens after certain conversations, the inexplicable heaviness that settles over you after certain interactions, the way your peace evaporates in the presence of certain people without a single word of conflict being spoken. You have dismissed it. You have told yourself you are being uncharitable. You have constructed explanations for the feeling that do not require you to act on it. The feeling was not uncharitable. The feeling was information. There is a relationship in your life right now that is serving the purposes of the one who wants you diminished more than it is serving the purposes of the one who built you. And the terrible event that is lurking in this area is not a dramatic betrayal. It is a slow bleed, the kind that does not announce itself as a wound until enough is drained that you suddenly notice you are weaker than you remember being. Do not wait for the dramatic moment to create the distance that your spirit has already been requesting. The quiet withdrawal from what is misaligned is not cruelty. It is protection. The second area is your purpose. There is a distraction that has been operating in your life with the appearance of productivity. It looks like movement. It generates the feeling of progress. It gives you the sensation of forward motion without actually moving you toward the specific thing you were placed on this earth to do. This is one of the most sophisticated weapons deployed against chosen ones in particular, because the ordinary person can be stopped with ordinary obstacles. Confusion, discouragement, failure, rejection. These work on most people, but the ones who have been through the fire and come out carrying something real are not easily stopped by ordinary obstacles. They have been trained by difficulty. They do not quit easily. So the strategy against them is not to stop them. It is to redirect them, to get them moving with great energy and great sincerity in a direction that is adjacent to their purpose but not their purpose. Close enough that it feels aligned. Different enough that it produces no eternal fruit. I need you to ask yourself an honest question right now. What am I currently most focused on? And does that focus, if continued exactly as it is, lead to the specific thing I know I was made for? Not a version of it. Not something spiritually adjacent to it. The specific thing. If the answer produces hesitation, if something in you pauses before it can say yes with full confidence, that hesitation is the warning. The lurking danger in this area is years of redirection that only becomes fully visible when you are standing at the end of them, looking back at what was built instead of what was supposed to be built. The correction is available now. Now costs far less than later. The third area is your foundation. Something you have been building on has developed a crack that is not yet visible on the surface. This is the most urgent of the three, because a compromised foundation does not reveal itself gradually. It holds for a long time and then fails suddenly. And the structures built on it come down not slowly but all at once. I am not speaking this to introduce catastrophe into your thinking. I am speaking this because I am the one who sees the foundation, not just the structure, and what I see requires your attention before the crack becomes a collapse. The foundation I am speaking about is not always literal. For some of you, it is financial. For some, it is relational. For some, it is the theological framework you have been operating from that contains an error you have not examined, because examining it would require you to rebuild something you would rather leave standing. But a structure built on a wrong foundation is not a safe structure, regardless of how impressive it appears from the outside. What I am asking you to do is this. Go back to the ground. Not the first floor, not the basement, the ground itself. What is the bedrock beneath everything you have constructed? And is that bedrock actually what you believe it to be? The terrible event that is coming in this area is not destruction for its own sake. It is the correction that happens when what cannot stand is removed, so that what can stand permanently can finally be built in its place. And I am warning you now, so that the removal is something you participate in, rather than something that happens to you without your understanding why. There is a pattern I want you to recognize. Every time a significant forward movement was about to happen in the lives of the people I have used most powerfully, there was first a moment of warning, a moment of preparation, a moment where I brought specific information into their awareness before the storm, so that the storm would not find them unready. Noah did not build the ark after the rain started. He built it in the dry season, in the years when the sky gave no indication that what was coming was actually coming, when the people around him thought the building was foolishness, when the logic of his circumstances gave him no visible reason to take the warning seriously. He built it anyway. And the ones who looked at the sky for confirmation before they took the warning seriously did not survive what arrived. You are in a Noah season. Not because catastrophe on that scale is coming, but because the principle is the same. The warning is arriving before the evidence. The instruction is coming before the visible reason to follow it makes sense. And what you do with this warning in the season before the evidence appears will determine whether what is coming finds you prepared or exposed. The ones this message reached were not reached by accident. You are a builder. You have always been a builder. The question is whether you will build in response to what you cannot yet see, or whether you will wait for what you can see before you begin. I want to speak now to the specific shape of the terrible event, because I do not believe in giving warnings without giving preparation. A warning without preparation is a burden. A warning with preparation is a gift. What is coming is a test of what you are made of at a level deeper than what has been tested before. Every previous test was preparation for this one. Every season of difficulty you survived, every moment of faithfulness in silence, every morning you chose to continue when nothing in your visible world gave you a reason to, those were not just endurance exercises. They were qualifications. You were being qualified for the level of testing that is now arriving. And here is what I need you to understand about the test. The test is not designed to break you. It is designed to reveal you. There is a version of you that exists beneath every layer of performance and management and careful presentation. A version that only becomes visible under pressure. A version that the people around you have never fully seen because the conditions that surface it have never fully arrived. That version is about to be surfaced, not as punishment, as introduction. Because who you are at your deepest level is not something that can be communicated through calm seasons. It can only be demonstrated through the storm. And what is coming is the storm that introduces to the world the version of you that I have been forming in the quiet. The version that does not fall. The version that does not run. The version that stands in the middle of what was designed to destroy and says, "This is not my end. This is my beginning." There is something specific about how this event will attempt to affect your peace. It will come with noise. Not necessarily literal noise. The noise of uncertainty. The noise of voices speaking confusion into situations that require clarity. The noise of circumstances that appear to contradict everything you have been promised and everything you have been sensing is near. And when that noise arrives, there will be a moment, a specific moment, where you will be given a choice between two responses. The first response is to enter the noise with your own noise, to match the confusion with frantic effort, to counter the uncertainty with an urgency of your own manufacturing, to do what the situation appears to demand, rather than what the Spirit is actually saying. The second response is to do what every person who has ever stood in a storm and survived it has ultimately had to do: go still. Not because stillness is passive, because stillness is the only state in which you can actually hear the instruction that the noise was specifically designed to drown out. The enemy does not create noise to disturb you emotionally. That is a side effect. The noise is created to cover the voice, to prevent you from hearing the specific instruction that, if heard and followed, removes the power of the event entirely. This is why the preparation for what is coming is not strategic. It is not a plan. It is a posture, the posture of the one who has learned, through every hard season they survived, that the loudest voice in the room is rarely the most important one, and the quietest voice in any room is always mine. Type the words, "I am listening," if your spirit just confirmed what was spoken. Because the ones who arrive at this moment in the message, and something in them shifts, something settles that was moving, something quiets that was loud, those are the ones this word was for. I want to tell you what I told Joshua before he entered the most dangerous and defining season of his entire calling. I did not tell him the battle plan first. I told him first to be strong and courageous. Not once. 3 times in the same address. 3 times before I gave him a single tactical instruction. Because I knew something he did not fully know yet. The battle was not primarily external. The primary battlefield was internal. The fear that would attempt to paralyze him before he ever crossed the Jordan was a greater threat to the outcome than any army he would face on the other side. And the instruction to be strong and courageous was not a motivational phrase. It was a command directed at the interior condition that, if not addressed before the battle, would cost him everything the battle was meant to produce. What I am saying to you now is what I said to Joshua then. Be strong, be courageous, not because the danger is not real, not because the terrible event is not actually coming. It is coming, and you are equipped for it. Not the version of you that existed before the formation seasons, the version that exists right now. The version that has been refined by fire until what was not essential was removed, and what remains is pure and unbreakable, and specifically capable of not only surviving what is coming, but of transforming it. That is who walks into this next season, not who you were, who you are. Before I give you the specific preparation, I want to address the fear directly. Because fear is not the enemy of faith. Unaddressed fear is. Fear that is brought into the light can be spoken to. Fear that is buried beneath performance and false confidence cannot. It operates in the dark. It influences decisions without declaring itself. It shapes responses before the conscious mind has a chance to choose. You have been afraid. Not of nothing. Of specific things. Things with weight and history, and enough previous evidence to make the fear rational by human measurement. I am not asking you to stop being human. I am asking you to bring the fear forward. Name it. Not to me, because I already know it. Name it to yourself. Because the naming is what removes the operating power of the unnamed thing. The thing that lives in the dark of your interior has power there, precisely because it is unnamed and unexamined. The moment you bring it into the light of your own honest attention, its power does not disappear, but it changes. It goes from being the thing driving the vehicle to being a passenger you are aware of and can speak to. You are the driver. You were always the driver. The fear had the wheel only as long as you were not aware it was there. Here is the specific preparation. The terrible event that is coming is not coming to end your story. It is coming to turn the page of it. And the person who survives a page turn is not the person who grips the current page with both hands, refusing to release it. It is the person whose hands are open. Open hands. That is the preparation. Not a strategy, not a battle plan, not a detailed contingency framework with exit routes and alternative scenarios. Open hands. The willingness to release what the event requires you to release, so that what the event is carrying toward you can land in the hands that just emptied to receive it. Because the terrible thing has two sides. Every terrible thing in the lives of the ones I have used has had two sides. The side that takes and the side that brings. And most people only ever see the first side because they closed their hands around what was being taken and missed what was being delivered. The taking is real. I do not minimize it. Something is about to be taken from your life that you did not offer willingly. And the grief of that is real, and it will be honored, and it does not need to be spiritually reframed in the moment it is happening. But when the grief has moved through, and it will move through, what I am bringing on the other side of this event is not a replacement. It is not a consolation prize. It is the thing that could not have arrived while what is being taken was still in place. The thing that was being crowded out by what felt too familiar to release voluntarily. The event is the release, and on the other side of the release is the arrival. I want to speak over you now, not as instruction, as declaration. You will not be destroyed by what is coming. You were not built to be destroyed by this. You were built, specifically, with this season in mind. Every difficulty you survived before this one was a specific preparation for the endurance this season requires. And the endurance this season requires is not beyond you. It is exactly the size of you. The one who forms the test does not form it beyond the capacity of the one being tested. That is not cruelty, wearing the mask of sovereignty. That is precision. The test is calibrated. The weight is matched to the carrier, and the carrier was built with this specific weight in mind. You will carry it. You will not just survive what is lurking. You will be transformed by it. And the transformation is the point. Not the event itself, not the difficulty itself. The person who stands on the other side of it, hands open, eyes clear, carrying an authority that only comes from having stood in the middle of the terrible thing and not been consumed. That person is who I have been building, through every season, toward this moment. There is one final thing I need to say before this closes. The people around you, who are also sensing that something is coming, are watching you. Not consciously, not deliberately, but they are watching the way that people in uncertain seasons always watch the ones who carry something steady, looking for evidence that steadiness is possible, looking for confirmation that the thing they sense approaching does not have to mean the ending they are afraid of. You are a carrier of steadiness. Not because you have no fear, because you have learned where to bring the fear. And in the season that is opening, the people around you are going to need to see that demonstrated in real time, not performed. Demonstrated. The real kind that comes from genuine rootedness in something deeper than circumstance. That is your assignment in this season. Not to have all the answers, not to be undisturbed by what is disturbing, to be the one in the room who knows where to bring the weight when it becomes too heavy to carry alone. That has always been who you are. And the terrible thing that is lurking is not coming to take that from you. It is coming to make it fully visible. To you, to everyone around you, and to every generation that will read your story long after this season has become the chapter that explains everything that came after it. Type the words, "I will not fall," if something in you just rose up to meet what was spoken. Let that be the declaration that seals what was spoken here. Let that be the agreement between you and the one who formed you. Let that be the beginning of the posture that will carry you through what is coming into what is waiting on the other side. Because what is waiting on the other side is worth everything this season costs. I have seen it, and it is worth it. You are worth it. Now go, not away from the danger, through it,